Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, why is everyone moving to Texas? We'll get that answer from the CEO of one of the top relocation services in the country next.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox. Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, you know that old saying, I wasn't born here, but got here as quick as I could, right? All Texans are very proud to be Texans, and the COVID-19, for better or for worse, for the planet, helped Texas in terms of its economy, because you have people moving in from states that were shut down, like New York and California, and they're all coming to Texas. So to talk about that today, Anthony Horton, he is the CEO of Corporate Relocation International. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Okay, so the simple question, why Texas?
Oh, there are just so many reasons. I think first and foremost is just the business friendliness from a taxation perspective, from the infrastructure, just everything. It is such a business-friendly environment. And then having been a relatively recent migrant myself into Texas and Dallas, my wife and I moved out here about 14 months ago and have just fallen in love with Dallas, the city, and the state itself. I've said that people here are just so friendly, and it's such a genuine friendliness, and there's just a completely different vibe to the state, the business climate, and the people that are here. It's wonderful.
And one of the things we were talking about before we got on camera, it was the idea of, everybody's seen that show, The Undercover Boss. You were kind of like the undercover boss, because you used your own company to get here, and the people who were serving you didn't know you were the boss.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting, and really a great experience. I was able to come out and say I completely understand why CRI is a 10 out of 10 and why our Google reviews are the best in the industry, because we are all about service, and service was what I got to experience as a kind of blind or secret shopper participant in the experience. So that was terrific.
That's wonderful. We'll hear more about that in a second, but let's watch an overview video.
Sure.
I got 22 years on the business, and man, this is the best company I ever worked.
They're experts. You watch them break down furniture and you're like, okay, I didn't even know it did that.
They're really high profile people. They have really high expectations.
I love when they say, I didn't know that there were movers like this. And we hear that a lot.
My dad was a mover, my uncle's a mover, I have 5 brothers, all movers.
I breathe this stuff. I mean, I go to bed thinking about it, I wake up thinking about it.
And I enjoy helping people during stressful times. I can't think of a better job.
They have too many things going on in their lives to spend a bunch of time setting up their home.
I didn't wonder one thing, because I knew everything that was going to happen, because they told me every step.
At CRI, it's easy because they understand without the customer, we're nobody.
It's never say no. You figure out an answer. It's never no. It's what can we do to make it happen.
It's been great. It's been everything I've expected since I've done it before, and then more.
Wow, very impressive. And one of the things we were talking about is customer service is so important because this is so personal. This is stressful. This is all your stuff. And there are very few times in life when people are more stressed out of their mind than moving. So talk about the employees you hire and why their emotional intelligence is so important.
Yeah, such a great question. The aptitude over skill is so important. So when we look at employees, and the employees that we have in the business are just amazing. It comes down to the ability to empathize, to understand, and to de-stress and de-escalate in those situations. It's funny, there's a stat that goes around that says of the 3 most stressful things that anyone experiences in life, moving is third. It's so disruptive, it is so invasive in many ways, and what we really do is we focus on the full employee experience. So that includes the employee, their family, their spouse, consideration for their pets, and their household goods, and really making sure that everything is done in a professional way for them so that we de-escalate that stress as much as possible. It really is. We consider ourselves in the human capital or human resources business, and the human part of that is just at the absolute core of what's needed to be successful, I think, in this space.
Well, I applaud you, and I hope you take this as a compliment because it's meant that way. Apple stores, everybody is coming in, they're frustrated, their device is not working, and their employees are just trained to kind of take you down a notch. Hey, we got this, Mr. Crilley. Let's take a look at your and they can take me from a 10 to a 5 just with their demeanor. Have you experienced the same thing with your own employees?
Yeah, absolutely. And even experienced it a bit myself. No matter how much you relocate or move around for different roles, or whether that is international or just domestic, it really is a tough experience. You're picking up your home and your life and going to something new. And so I am just every day impressed with our team, and see it in all of our client and employee reviews. And yeah, it really is, somehow there is this innate skill that you're either born with or not that I think is really natural for service type positions. And it is that part service provider, part counselor, and being able to really recognize when emotions are running high and being able to kind of just factually walk through that. And again, I mentioned the word empathy and being empathetic. That is such an important part of the makeup of our team.
And you guys have won a lot of accolades. We're going to put one on the screen. I hope you'll tell me more about that award. This
was the first year that we were listed in the top 12, the HRO Baker's Dozen, the top relocation companies, internationally, but especially domestically over the last year. And it was the first time that we threw our name in the hat. I think we were 5th or 6th or something in that list. And the only thing that I think kept us from number 1 was that the size of some of our clients is not as big as others. So client size was a factor. And I would say we're very particular around client relationships. So we don't necessarily go out and try to scramble to get every Fortune 1000 company as our client. We will work obviously with anyone, but it's about partnership, the long-term sort of value we can provide for our clients, and really that kind of cultural fit. When they are very, very focused on their own employee experience, because they understand that drives engagement and productivity and all of those things that are necessary really for the bottom line, that we are a great fit because we're creating that employee experience for their teams.
Wow. Let's talk about COVID-19, because at the height, everybody's wearing masks, we're social distancing, we're all germaphobes. What was that like for your company?
Well, first and foremost, people thought I was a little crazy for last year, joining a relocation and mobility company when all of this was just starting. But I fell in love with that service orientation that's just embedded in the soul at CRI. And I knew that we would be able to come out of it as strong as we sort of went into COVID. And we managed to do that. It wasn't easy. We got a little bit of luck in that we had some clients who had sort of success through COVID. But yeah, it it has been such a shock to the system, as you can imagine, in relocation, because everybody kind of shut down. Those who had required relocations, we had to completely pivot and change our approach to make sure that we were adding even additional health and safety capabilities for our teams that were interacting face to face. The services we provide can be done remotely, but then as you get into real estate, mortgages, appraisals and inspections, the household goods move, inevitably there's some face-to-face. So we took the health and safety component as number one. Now that we're coming out of it, 2021 is going to be such an interesting summer. It already is, because as we come out, we're a great kind of early indicator from a macroeconomic perspective, in that we're seeing mobility pick up. And that is really indicative of the economy bouncing back. But the supply chain in our business is still ramping back up. And so there are definitely some ripple effect challenges that we're going to see through the summer as we come back to kind of full force. And again, fortunately, we kind of saw this unfolding in April and were able to plan effectively and get ahead of it. So knock on wood, so far we have been 100% on time with no delays for all of our moves and relocations. And our plan is to extend that through the peak season of this summer.
Outstanding. You've been an amazing guest. We're going to end with your website. Go ahead and give us the domain name.
It is www.corprelo.com.
Outstanding. Anthony Horton, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you. It was a real pleasure.
You bet. And that's it for now. We'll see you next time.